Okay, so this is course drawing number 8 for 2023, solid geometry. Given, if we look at what's given, we have a top view of a hexagonal pyramid and then a square prism, as well as the front view with the cut line ST. Specifications. One corner of the right hexagonal pyramid is in contact with the corner of the square prism. Both solids are cut by cutting plane ST. Then our instructions. Draw to scale 1 is equal to 1 the following views of the two solids. Firstly, the front view, so a front view. Then a sectional top view of cutting plane ST, sectional top view. A sectional right view with the parts above cutting plane ST removed. So then remember if we look at first angle orthographic, front, top, left and right, which means they are looking for a right view. So I'm not going to draw a left view, and then planning is essential. No hidden detail required on this sectional views, and show all construction. Okay, looking at my planning, I have my top view, which is going to be sectioned, then a front view, and then I must draw a right view. So layout, if I do my top view, my front view, and then my right view. Okay, so as you can see, I've drawn the given front view and the given top view, and also my 45-degree line, which I'm going to use to do my right sectional view later. Firstly, I'm going to focus on my top view. Now remember, it's important, don't focus on both objects at the same time. Firstly, I'm going to do the square. Okay, so the easiest way for me is I usually use my one of my triangles at 90 degrees, and then I'm going to shift my ruler and look where it's going to cut. So the first place it's going to cut is on that place there. Now, if I look at the top view, it's basically cutting line BC as well as DC. So taking that cut, if you don't know how it's going to cut, put your ruler exactly on that cut line and ask yourself, what is left? Okay, so if I look at this from that cut line, which is going to be there somewhere, this C point is going to fall away. It's going to be cut out and removed from my view. So if I draw in this line, this piece of C can basically just be in construction line because that is going to be removed. And then this whole square prism is going to be cut, so I'm going to hatch it. Okay, now we move to a second one, the second shape. I'm going to do exactly the same. Shift my ruler.
Shift the ruler and look at the first place it cuts. For this instance it is cutting line 04. Make a small cross and number it 4. Next line ST cuts line 30 and 50. Mark where it cuts on the top view on line 30 and 50 and number it. Shift the ruler up until the next cutting point. It cuts line 20 and 60. Now make marks on the top view on lines 20 and 40 and number them. The last place line ST cuts are on line 10. Make a mark on the top view on line 10 and number it as 1. Now you can draw your cut in dark solid lines starting at mark number 1 and draw a line to number 2, then to 3, then to 4, then to 5, then to 6, and lastly back to number 1.
Okay, now I'm placing my ruler there again, asking myself what is left. So basically I took the top part off, so everything from the cut towards 0 is going to be taken out, which means I can hatch the inside of this cut, and on the outside draw from 2 to cut 2, 1 to cut 1, 6 to cut 6, all of these outside in dark lines. So it's very important to remember, because this is two shapes, we must hatch it in different directions. Project these lines and mark them as I go along, 6 and 5, 1, 4, as well as 0, 2 and 3, as well as 4, not 4, it's A, this is B, C, and lastly B. Okay, so if I think about the right view, I must go back to one of my other views and figure out what am I going to concentrate on first. Looking at my top view, if I'm looking at it from the right side, the first thing that I'm going to see is my square. So I'm going to concentrate on my square firstly. So I'm going to take the height of the square over to my right view and draw line B, C, A, and D. Okay, now we are going to figure out where it's going to cut. So firstly, if I start at the top, make my way down, the first place it's going to cut is on A. So all that I'm going to do is make a cross for myself, and that is called A. If I continue shifting it down, the next place it's going to cut is on line B, which is there, making a cross, calling it B. Continue down, the next one it cuts is on D, making mark on D. Now it's cutting between D and C. Okay, so we are going over to the top view and we are finding that exact points on the top view. So I'm going to project these points to my 45 line. You can see it's that point and that point. And then I'm going to project them up, and exactly where they meet the XY line. Remember, that's also on the XY line. That is going to be my one point, and this is going to be my other point. Okay, so again, starting from A, drawing towards B, from B and back to A. Again, this is what I'm going to see looking at the cut, and it's the square, so I'm going to hatch it the same as the square on the top view. Okay, now I must ask myself, what am I left with? I'm placing my ruler there on the cut, And I'm asking myself, if I'm looking at B, for instance, what is left? It is going to go down. Looking at D, what's left is going down, which means I must go from cut B and draw the line that goes down. Go to cut D and draw the line that's down. And then my square is finished on my right view. Now let's concentrate on my hexagonal pyramid. Again, firstly, I'm going to take all these lines up, numbering them here. 1 and 4 and 0, 2 and 3. Okay. Okay, so firstly, I'm just going to draw my normal right view as I would see it here. So it's going to be line 4, 0, which is already drawn in. And then basically line 5, 0 and 6, 0, as well as 2 and 3 to 0. Okay, now we are going to insert the cut. Again, I'm starting at the top. The first place it's going to cut is on line 1, 0. So then I'm making a mark on 1, 0, calling it number 1. Continue down on 2, 0 and 6, 0. On 2, 0 and 6, 0, I'm making a mark, cross 6 and cross number 2. Continuing down, the next place it cuts is on line 3, 0 and 5, 0. So I'm making my marks, cross 5, cross 3, and lastly on line 4, 0. Okay, so again, I have all the crosses needed. So then I'm going to draw it in dark solid lines from cross 1 to cross 2, cross 2 to cross 3, and etc. Okay, knowing that that's a cut, I'm going to hatch it the same as I did in the top view. Okay, again, asking myself, what is left? I'm placing my ruler on the cut line. Let's go to line 5. Everything from 5 down I'm going to see, which means from the cut, I'm going to draw down to the number. With 4 the same. 4 is going down. 3 is going down. And then it's complete.